The first time my phone buzzed, I thought it was just another update. The second time, the buzzing didn't stop. It pulsed like a heartbeat against my palm. The screen lit my face in the dark, and there it was, stark and brutal across the locked screen, as if the letters were etched into the glass from the inside. Unrated Experience. Closed. My speakers popped like a blown fuse. The lamp flickered, and something behind my monitor took a breath. I grabbed the edge of my desk and shoved the monitor back, because my brain insisted there was space behind it big enough for a person. Ridiculous. The only thing behind my monitor was a tangle of cables and a dust bunny with a mortgage. But the cool thing about being terrified is that you don't have to be right to be certain. The breath came again, slow, careful, like someone learning to imitate how humans breathe. The lock screen flashed into the Roblox app by itself. My hands didn't move. The app opened to my home page, but the tiles looked wrong. They jittered, snapping between versions like bad VHS tracking. The bright plastic aesthetic, then something flatter, then textures like wet cardboard. The Home tab warped, and the suggestion bar coughed up a single black rectangle with a title written in red brackets. I knew that tag. Players joked about it in Discord, the mysterious bracket tag that sometimes appeared in leaked dev screenshots. Some said it marked a private test of the AI Sentinel content filter. Others said it was a dev placeholder that ate entire maps if you clicked it. I didn't believe any of it, until the black rectangle clicked itself. The screen didn't load a game. It loaded my room. A live feed from my camera? Maybe. Except the angle was wrong. The perspective looked slightly higher, looking down at me, as if the camera sat on the ceiling fixture above my bed where I never put a camera. On-screen me blinked. Real me didn't. The delay was reversed. And in the corner, a notification ballooned open like a bruise. Unrated Experience. Closed. Reason: live elements detected in non-sandboxed environment. A shape pulsed in the corner of the live feed, then bled out into a full-on portal ripple, violet and gold. A Roblox noob tiptoed through the ripple, wiggling his arms like he was sneaking past the teacher with a hall pass. His face was the classic grin, but it flickered like bad neon. He waved at both of me, the me on the screen and the me in the chair, and whispered, "Chill. They don't know I'm PG-13. I should have screamed. Instead, I hiccup laughed, which came out like a baby sneeze mixed with a whimper. "I'm dreaming," I told the noob. Unrated Experience. Closed. The noob sang, pitching his voice like a train announcement. "We regret to inform you your bedroom is now restricted to users 16+ unless parental controls approve cross-domain object replication." I stared. Parental controls? I live alone. "So, you are your own parent," he said, nodding, impressed. "Ambitious." The portal behind him widened. A blue glitch aura leaked out and pooled on my floor like light that forgot gravity. The walls of my room gained vertices. My posters turned to low-res texture maps, their glossy surfaces turning into pixels that shimmered when I moved. My hand, my actual hand, gained a crisp, polygonal edge without my permission. A status text scrolled across the top of my vision even though I wasn't wearing a headset. Syncing. Mesh 3D real space. Warning. Content sensitivity unknown. Please rate your experience. "I can't rate it if it's closed," I muttered. "That's the problem," the noob said cheerfully. "So, quick question. Where do you keep your snacks?" I blinked. "What?" Every unrated experience requires at least one absurdly placed snack to meet the comedy buffer. It keeps viewers breathing between scares. He poked my real pillow. It made the Roblox boing sound. "We could do chips under your pillow." Classic. My phone buzzed again. The message expanded to full screen. Unrated Experience. Closed. You are currently inside the unrated experience. Exit to proceed. A button appeared. Exit. It didn't look clickable. It looked inevitable. I tapped it anyway. My room did not exit. The message simply moved, floating over my door like a do not disturb sign. The door handle twisted from the other side. A second notification tore the first like paper. Moderator is reviewing live content. Estimated wait, infinity. Something knocked. Just once. It sounded like a wooden block hitting another wooden block. Flat, hollow, robotic. The noob hid behind my chair, peeking out with his entire blocky body visible, which is the opposite of hiding. "If that's Sentinel," he whispered, "act boring. Sentinel hates boring. It starves." The door nudged open, slow and slow and slower than slow, until I half expected an invisible director to yell, "Faster. We only have 30 minutes." The thing that leaned in was tall and slender, wearing a scrolling curtain of black brackets for a face. 1,000 pairs of eyes, except every bracket was empty. It looked straight through me, then pivoted its non-head to the noob, then to the camera angel's only portal. Rating pending, the bracket face intoned. Its voice walked down a staircase of pitch like it was learning which note belonged to which syllable. Live elements detected. Player, you. Hi, I said, very politely, because the thing looked like it could unmake my house from the floorboards up. This is my bedroom. Correction, it murmured, and the word became a keyboard clicking itself. This is a staging area, an unrated instance. You have not selected an audience filter. Please choose. Everyone, 7+, 12+, 16+, 18+, or off. I choose off, I said. Unavailable, it sang back. Due to interest, the lights went out. The screen kept glowing, and in the screen's version of my room, the lights stayed on, which meant I could watch myself in bright, camera-rich detail while fumbling in the real dark. The me in the screen turned slowly to look at the me in the dark. My stomach stuttered. The screen me raised a hand and pointed past me, just over my shoulder. I knew better than to look. I looked anyway. The wall behind me was breathing. The paint blistered with polygons, and underneath, wiring pulsed with purple light like veins. A seam opened, a zipper across reality. Fingers, too thin and too many, slid out, clutching at the edges like a child climbing out of a ball pit. An avatar crawled through. Not a noob, not a familiar face, but a build of my own avatar I'd abandoned months ago when I realized it looked too much like me. Same haircut, same jawline, except the eyes were red brackets, and the smile was mine, turned 2 notches too wide. He stood, brushed imaginary dust off his hoodie, and checked his reflection in my blacked-out monitor. "Yo," my avatar said, the voice my voice used when overconfident. "Am I late?" I heard the experience was closed. Sentinel/bracket face turned to him. "You are the user. Duplicate detected." "I'm the upgrade," Avatar me said, and winked at me. "Hey, real me, you look soft." "Get back inside the screen," I said, which was not a sentence a sane person says. "Can't." "Closed," he replied. "Besides, we need to rehearse. Tonight's run is live." He snapped, and a UI bloomed above my bed like Aurora Borealis. A chapter list, a timer, a laugh track slider. The timer started at midnight and jumped to 4 o'clock like a skipped intro. "Hook's done," he said. "Nice breathing wall. Good choice." The noob tiptoed out from behind my chair holding a bag of chips he absolutely didn't have before. He crunched loudly. "This is the comedy buffer," he explained between mouthfuls. "When the audience is about to pass out from fear, they picture me with chips." A sound like a far-off train rolled through the house. Not through the walls, through the idea of the house. The portal ripple widened again, and I saw my street outside, a glitching overlay that left the real window behind. The neighbor's porch became voxel stairs. The maple tree exploded into cubes like confetti and reassembled wrong, branches pointing in Euclidean directions that didn't exist in our geometry. My phone bloated with a final alert. "Your home instance has been set to unrated. Clock time no longer guaranteed. Save points, disabled. Seek exits, laughable." I should have run. The stairs were behind Sentinel. The window was now a skybox. The avatar who was me hopped onto my bed and bounced, which triggered the Roblox jump sound in my room. "Okay," he declared. "Scene 2, we go to the school." It's classic. Empty corridors, flickering fluorescence, a janitor NPC who says something ominous, and a lock that requires a key shaped like a joke. I'm not going to my school at. I checked the time. My clock simply showed brackets. Whatever bracket o'clock this is. "You already are," he said, and tapped the air. The floor fell away like someone deleted the basement with a command line. I plunged, stomach in my throat, into a tunnel of loading bars. The scream got stuck halfway up my chest and came out as a squeak. The noob fell alongside me, still eating the chips, crumbs trailing upward like stars. Sentinel's face hovered upside down, brackets clicking like teeth. We slammed into a hallway of greenish light, and lockers painted the exact color of hopelessness. My school, all right. But it wasn't the day version or the night version. It was the cutscene version, where sound is too crisp and everything smells like disinfectant and old paper. My footsteps made the wrong sound. The noobs made piano planks. The avatar me didn't echo at all. The clock above the counselor's office read midnight, and then 8:08, and then... From somewhere, a kid laughed. From everywhere, a kid laughed. The laugh tracked us, one beat delayed, reverb too long. I turned the corner, and the hallway didn't turn with me. A geometry bug that made the world jump half a meter to keep up. A sign over the cafeteria read, "Welcome back, rated humans." The letters rearranged and spelled, "We come back." Then, absurdly, rate. D-hum. I snorted out a laugh I didn't own. The janitor NPC rolled into view, pushing a mop bucket that contained no water, only a glow. His face was too smooth, plastic stretched over nothing, with a mustache that looked like it had been drawn on with marker. He tipped his cap, which triggered an achievement sound. "Lights are on the fritz," he said with fake concern. "Big night. Big update. OOF heard you'll be sitting some tests." He leaned forward and conspiratorially whispered. But he didn't disappear. He showed up at the school. My throat tightened. "Who's he?" The janitor's face glitched, hopped 1 pixel, then 2, then recomposed. "Depends who's watching." He pushed the bucket toward me. "Careful. Don't look inside unless you want to see which version of you they clicked." I didn't want to look. I looked. The bucket held reflections, stacked like cards. Me as a kid, me last year, me with brackets for eyes, me with emptier eyes than I knew I had. At the bottom of the stack, me, older, hair gray at the temples, smiling calmly at someone beside me I couldn't see. That version whispered up through the reflections, "You don't leave by exiting. You leave by finishing." The lights went out. The laugh stopped and left full silence behind, the kind that amplifies your own heartbeat until it sounds like someone walking. A locker banged open on its own. A shoe rolled out. Not mine, not anyone's I recognized, followed by a drip of purple light that pooled and crawled against gravity toward the ceiling. The sound returned, but scrambled, a giggle with a growl underneath, like something was practicing human emotions. "Bad beat incoming," Avatar me announced, eyes bright. "Right on schedule." We rounded another corner, and the cafeteria stretched into a gymnasium, then into a theater, then into a cafeteria again, layers of the school playing musical chairs. The stage curtain parted. The bracket-faced sentinel floated above the floor like a missprinted statue and extended a hand made of cursor arrows. Behind him, a dozen doors, each labeled with a different rating. Everyone 7+, 12+, 16+, 18+, off. The off door wore police tape. "Choose," he said. "Fine," I said. "Everyone." "All right," Sentinel replied, and the doors fell away like cardboard. "You chose wrong." He turned to the audience that didn't exist and added with a smile in his brackets, "This will be interesting." The gymnasium thudded with a boss music track the school never deserved. The floor tiles lit up like a dance game, except the arrows pointed nowhere. The noob tossed me the chips bag, which was now a sword. The chip crumbs slid into a blade edge made of neon corn. I held a corn sword. It hummed like a lightsaber that couldn't legally be called a lightsaber. I knew I should be terrified. I giggled, because this was the stupidest weapon I had ever held. "Comedy buffer," the noob explained. "Trust me." A shadow thickened beside the stage curtains, and OOF stepped out. Not the sound, the entity. A blocky figure in a tuxedo, his head a clear cube filled with the waveform of a single sound, looping. Every step he took, my bones recognized from every dumb fail I'd ever had in Roblox. He raised a hand and snapped, and the world did the oof in my chest. I staggered, vision smearing, and heard the delayed laugh again, this time aimed like a weapon. I swung the corn sword. It sliced the laugh in half. The room inhaled, stunned. OOF cocked his head, curious, and snapped again, harder. The oof detonated like a gag grenade. I went to my knees, corn sword guttering. The janitor NPC rolled his bucket between us like a ref breaking up a fight. "Gentlemen," he said, mustache askew. "This is a school. Violence is to be conducted in the gymnasium." "Oh, good. We're already here." OOF reached into his waveform head and pulled out a loop of sound, stretching it between his hands like chewing gum. He flicked it at me. It smacked my chest and clung, a sound you can't peel off. My heart started beating in sync with it. Oof, oof, oof. Hey, the noob yelled, and dove in front of me, taking the echo. It molded to his blocky chest and turned into a glowing sticker of a banana peel. He looked down. Oh, nice. Cosmetic. He slipped on it immediately, flew 10 feet, and knocked over the mop bucket. The glow inside poured across the floor like a liquid decision. It soaked into my shoes, up my legs, and into my spine, cold as reboot. A menu slid into my vision. Rate your experience so far. A 5-star bar blinked. Under it, 2 buttons, more scary / more silly. The cursor hovered between them. It was my cursor. It wasn't me holding it. Pick. Avatar me said, balanced on the edge of the stage, smile too bright. I thought it was unrated. I snapped. Exactly, he said, and pointed to my heart. So the rating system moved inside. I hovered between the buttons and slammed both. The menu laughed, pleased, and the bar filled with brackets. The lights flickered hard, and the gymnasium blinked into the street. We were outside. My school had folded like origami and set itself down into our neighborhood. The maple trees were pixel towers, the stop signs printed on flat planes that spun when you looked at them. People stood on the sidewalks, frozen T-poses, then they shuddered and moved like they'd just remembered they had bones. NPCs from random games wandered past. A chef with a neon hat offering ghost soup, a knight whose sword was a broom, a girl with bunny ears who sat on nothing and scrolled a phone that projected no screen. I could feel the audience now, not watching from outside but inside, like my neighbors had turned into viewers with comments hovering above their heads in transparent chat bubbles. LOL. What is this? Is this live? That noob slayed me. Bro the corn sword. Turn around, turn around, turn around. I turned around. My avatar had multiplied. 3 of him stood at different ages. 1 younger, hoodie 2 sizes too big. 1 now, almost me. 1 older, calmer. Their faces blurred while I tried to focus, like my eyes refused to adjust. We're running out of time, the older version said. But time here is rectangular, so that's fine. What do you want? I asked. My voice split into 2, 1 serious, 1 comedic, and both sounded like me. What does any of this want? We want you to finish, the Avatar trio said in a chorus. Because if you don't finish, they finish for you, Sentinel completed, drifting overhead like a forgetful god. And then you are an experience without an author. Those go very wrong. A siren rose in the distance, but the pitch kept switching like the drivers were cycling instruments. Police cars arrived, except they weren't cars. They were low-poly cars with real tires, hovering 2 inches above the street. Officers got out, some human, some almost human, some tagged with floating text. Moderator, AI Sentinel Assistant, Parental Override. One of them looked exactly like my 8th grade principal, but wearing armor made of terms of service. He raised a megaphone. Everyone stay calm. We will be raiding the neighborhood. The crowd clapped politely. A kid in pajamas pointed at me and yelled, "He's the live element." The chat bubbles above heads exploded. He him live, he's him, that's him, no, that's the other one. The one with the brackets, no, the one with the chips. The officers approached. The principal in TOS armor frowned at my corn sword. "Sir, put down the food." "It's a weapon," I said. "It both is and is not," Sentinel said helpfully. Schrodinger's snack. The principal pinched the bridge of his nose. "Look, we're going to set your home back to rated everyone and return the NPCs. You'll wake up, think you had a weird dream, and post about it. Or you can finish the experience, and then the rating sticks." He glanced at the crowd, and they want it to stick. I looked at my avatar selves. The younger one juggled his own fear like it was a ball he kept dropping. The older one waited, patient, eyes kind in a way that hurt. The middle one looked like a mirror that learned to judge. "What does finishing mean?" I asked. The older me smiled. "It means choosing what this is about. You can make it about fear, or you can make it about attention, or you can make it about boundaries. But you have to say it out loud, in a way the world understands. Then the rating will unlock. Close the loop." The noob popped up beside me, cheeks full of chips, and whispered, "Say it's about snacks." For a stupid second, I almost said it, because the fear felt like a balloon, and jokes are pins. But in the glow spilling from the portal and pooling in the gutters, in the billboard above the bodega that now read, "Please rate me back," In the reflection in a store window where the bracket-eyed me smiled like a copy that wanted to replace me, I knew what it was about. It's about consent, I said, voice steady. About my house. About my face. About being watched without choosing to be. It's about saying no. The street paused. The chat bubbles froze mid-LOL. The sirens held a note like they'd been told to wait. The sentinel's bracket face widened, surprised. The older me nodded. Final scene, he said gently. The world peeled. The sky unhooked from its corners and shrank into a rectangle big enough to hold in two hands. The crowd, the officers, the portal, everything slid backward into a stage that I could step off if I wanted. The rating doors reappeared, not floating this time, but planted, heavy, like real doors you could slam. The doors tape crackled and fell away. Choose, Sentinel said again, but softly this time. I choose off, I said and reached. My hand hit an invisible wall. The wall didn't feel like glass or air. It felt like a formless crowd. Not my neighbors. Not cops. Viewers. The ones inside the instance. The ones who'd laughed and typed and gasped. The ones who were, in some way I didn't understand, also me. The pressure wasn't malicious. It was hungry. It won't open from your side alone, the older me said apologetically. So I'm stuck, I said. For now, he replied. But the other side listens when you speak the truth. Sometimes they need a quieter version. He touched the door, and his hand didn't pass through either. He smiled, a little sadly. Sometimes they need time. I took a breath. I closed my eyes. I pictured my room, unsliced by portals, small and safe and messy. I pictured the noob stealing the chips and leaving a thank you note shaped like a banana peel. I pictured Sentinel learning to be bored and liking it. I put the corn sword down. The crowd murmured, a sound like an ocean far away. I don't consent, I said to the door. Not now? Not like this. The lock clicked once, like a camera shutter. The door didn't open, but the brackets in Sentinel's face rearranged into something like a smile. The rating float above the street flickered, and, this time I saw it, moved one notch toward off. Progress, Sentinel said. Unexpected. The world tilted, a slow carousel. The stage shrank again, into my monitor. The portal wound itself tight, like thread on a spool. The maple tree out front remembered how branches work. The chat bubbles popped like soap. The school, mercifully, refolded itself back where schools belong. The officers faded, leaving only the principal's armor, which collapsed into a small pile of printed toast that the wind stole piece by piece. I was in my room. My lamp hummed, working too hard. My monitor showed a black rectangle. The title in red brackets, blinked and then went dark. My phone buzzed one last time. I looked. Unrated Experience, closed. Your input has been received. Pending review by you. I nearly dropped the phone. The noob peeked from under my bed, munching a final chip like a raccoon caught at a picnic. So, he asked, crumbs flying. Does this mean snacks are still allowed? I laughed, exhausted. You get one bag, and then you go home. He nodded, solemn as a judge, and held up 2 fingers. 2. 1. He thought about it. 1.5. Deal, I said, because bargaining with a noob under your bed at bracket o'clock felt like the least weird thing I'd done all night. The ceiling light brightened, then settled. The polygons withdrew from the walls like the tide, leaving paint and dents and the memory of something with too many fingers. The avatar me stood in the monitor one last moment, palm against the inside of the glass where mine hovered on the outside. We'll see you, he said. Maybe when you want us. Maybe when you don't. But next time we rate it together, I said. He smiled, and the brackets in his eyes softened. Next time, he agreed, and faded, leaving my reflection. Just me, tired, a little older than an hour ago. I turned off the monitor. The room exhaled. The night was night again, not stage night, not audience night. I slid into bed. The phone lay on the nightstand like a small, patient animal. As my eyes closed, something tapped the glass from the inside. Once. Light, like a polite request. I didn't move. I didn't look. I slept. When I woke, sun fell on my pillow like gold poured thin. Birds practiced the same 2 notes they always do. I stretched, and my spine didn't glitch. For one soft second, I believed it was over, that the world had remembered boundaries. My phone buzzed. I reached for it with a steady hand. The notification hovered like a coin I had to decide to catch. I tapped. Unrated Experience. Closed, it read, white letters on black. Under it, smaller. But he didn't disappear. He appeared right at your school today at 1:17 p.m. And then, as if the message knew exactly how long it takes to walk from my house to the front gate, another line wrote itself while I watched. And then I realized he's not looking at me. He's looking at me. I stared at the time on my screen. It reshaped into brackets for a heartbeat, then back into digits. 1:15 p.m. glowed like a dare. Far off, down the street, a bell I hadn't heard since graduation rang one clear, lonely note. My window reflected it. For just a second, behind my face, a bracket smiled. Then the glass remembered itself and showed only me again. I picked up my backpack, because you don't go into an experience without snacks. I tucked a bag of chips inside. Comedy buffer. Here, pin. I opened my door. The hall beyond was entirely normal, which is to say it was impossible. I stepped out anyway, because the loop doesn't close when you hide from it. The stair creaked, the second from the top, like always. My hand paused on the banister. I glanced back at my desk, my monitor, the silent black rectangle. Everything held still. Everything waited. Down the street, at the exact point where the sidewalk turns into school property, the air flickered. It didn't open. Not yet. It just thinned, like a screen brightness slider being dragged by a patient finger. Okay. I told the emptiness, and myself, and the crowd I could not see. One more scene. I stepped into the afternoon. The sun tasted like a save point